Hey everyone! Ready to dive deep into the world of The Unbreakable Boy? Released on February 21st, 2025. This film has sparked endless discussions, and today, we're uncovering every thrilling detail. If you enjoy this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us grow. And for more incredible movie explorations and hidden gems, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's unravel the magic behind this cinematic masterpiece. Movie introduction and overview, The Unbreakable Boy, 2025. On February 21st, 2025, the cinematic world was forever changed by the release of The Unbreakable Boy, a film that has left audiences reeling with its emotional depth, uplifting themes, and unforgettable performances. The film, which intertwines the triumph of human spirit with the complexities of family life, has quickly grown into a cultural phenomenon. Based on a true story, it has resonated with people from all walks of life, prompting them to reflect on the nature of love, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a father and son. At first glance, it might seem like a film about illness, a story of a boy born with a rare genetic condition and autism, but The Unbreakable Boy is so much more than that. It's a story of hope, grit, and the kind of love that can only come from facing life's harshest realities and still choosing to fight for each other. Directed with grace and sensitivity, the film captures the essence of human connection in the most intimate way possible, reminding viewers that even in the face of adversity, there is beauty and strength in life. What sets The Unbreakable Boy apart from other dramas is its authenticity. It never seeks to romanticize Austin's condition or gloss over the challenges his family faces. Instead, it grounds itself in raw emotion, telling a story that is relatable, universal, and incredibly real. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving in the face of the most difficult circumstances. The film takes you on a journey of transformation, both personal and familial, showcasing how the power of love and determination can carry people through even the darkest of times. From the moment the film begins, it's clear that The Unbreakable Boy is not just a heartwarming story, but a visual and emotional experience. The film opens with a montage of the Lorette family, specifically focusing on their early years as they adapt to Austin's medical condition. Austin, played by the young and remarkably talented, insert actor name, brings an authenticity to the role that is nothing short of extraordinary. His portrayal of a boy who is both innocent and wise beyond his years resonates deeply with anyone who has ever known someone who's fought through hardship with unwavering courage. But it's not just Austin who steals the show. Scott, Austin's father, played with immense depth by insert actor name, serves as the emotional core of the film. Scott's journey is one of growth. He starts out as a man who is terrified of what the future holds for his son and is filled with self-doubt. But over time, he transforms into a figure of strength, perseverance, and unconditional love. The chemistry between the two actors is palpable, and the father-son bond they share is nothing short of inspiring. The plot of The Unbreakable Boy takes viewers through Austin's life from early childhood into his teen years, charting the emotional and physical challenges he faces as he grows older. At the heart of the story is the relationship between Austin and his father, Scott, who constantly strives to provide his son with the best life possible, despite the constant fear that comes with Austin's fragile condition. As a result, Scott grapples with the idea of wanting to protect Austin from the world, but also wanting him to experience life to its fullest. This internal conflict is something that many parents of children with disabilities can relate to, and the film handles it with incredible nuance. The major twists in the film come not from dramatic plot changes but from emotional shifts that occur throughout the narrative. There's one key moment where Scott, feeling overwhelmed and defeated, breaks down, questioning whether he's doing enough for his son. It's a raw and vulnerable moment that truly captures the complexity of being a parent in such a situation. This scene is followed by a turning point where Scott begins to fully embrace his role as a father, no longer driven by fear, but by the powerful realization that Austin, despite his physical limitations, is far stronger than anyone could have imagined. As the story unfolds, we see Austin thrive in unexpected ways, not because he's been cured of his condition, but because he learns to navigate the world with a kind of resilience that is nothing short of extraordinary. One of the film's most powerful moments comes when Austin, despite enduring countless fractures and hospital visits, delivers a speech at his high school graduation. His words are simple, but they carry immense weight. You don't have to be unbreakable to be strong. It's in this moment that the audience realizes that the true strength of the film lies not in overcoming physical limitations, but in the way the characters find strength in each other and in themselves. In terms of visuals, The Unbreakable Boy uses its cinematography to mirror the emotional journey of its characters. The film is often shot in close-ups, allowing the audience to connect with the characters on an intimate level. These tight frames convey the raw emotion of each moment, whether it's a heartbreaking scene of Austin in pain or a joyful moment shared between father and son. The use of natural light is particularly effective, with scenes bathed in warm tones, symbolizing the hope and love that infuse the story, even in its darkest moments. One of the film's most striking visual elements is its use of flashbacks. The filmmakers cleverly employ these brief glimpses into Austin's past to show the progression of his relationship with his father. In these moments, we see the evolution of their bond, from initial fear and uncertainty to an unspoken understanding and mutual respect. It's a delicate dance between past and present that adds layers of depth to the narrative and gives the audience a more comprehensive understanding of the emotional stakes at play. What makes The Unbreakable Boy such a cultural phenomenon is not just the powerful performances or the expertly crafted visuals, but the way the story resonates on a deeply human level. It's a film that reminds us of the fragility of life, but also the incredible resilience of the human spirit. It speaks to anyone who has ever faced an obstacle that seemed insurmountable, but who found the strength to keep going. And for those who have ever loved someone through difficult circumstances, it offers a message of hope and unconditional love. In a world where we often focus on our differences, The Unbreakable Boy offers a reminder that our shared humanity is far more powerful. It's a film that touches on themes of acceptance, perseverance, and finding joy in the small moments. And in an era where we often feel disconnected from each other, it's a poignant call to reconnect, to love without boundaries, and to never underestimate the strength of those around us. The movie's success has sparked widespread conversation about the realities of living with a disability, and it has led to increased awareness and advocacy for those facing similar challenges. For many viewers, The Unbreakable Boy has become more than just a film. It has become a movement. The film's messages have been embraced by advocacy groups, caregivers, and families who have shared their own stories of resilience and love. It has become a touchstone for anyone who believes in the power of family and the ability to overcome life's greatest challenges. For those who haven't yet seen the film, it's an experience that will stay with you long after the credits roll. It's not just a story, it's a call to action to see the world with a little more compassion, to appreciate the people who make our lives better, and to never give up, no matter how hard life gets. And for those who have already seen it, the movie offers a chance to reflect on the unbreakable bonds that shape our lives. In a world filled with superhero movies and escapist fantasies, The Unbreakable Boy reminds us that true heroes come in many forms. They don't always wear capes, and they don't always have superhuman strength. Sometimes, they are the people who fight every day to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against them. The Unbreakable Boy is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and it will continue to inspire audiences for years to come. If you're looking for a movie that will leave you both heartbroken and hopeful, that will make you laugh and cry, and that will remind you of the incredible power of love, then The Unbreakable Boy is a must-see. Don't miss the chance to experience this breathtaking, transformative film that has captured the hearts of millions and shown us all what it truly means to be unbreakable. On February 21st, 2025, the world was introduced to The Unbreakable Boy, a film that has quickly become a cultural touchstone. At first glance, it may seem like a story about a young boy born with a debilitating condition, but it's much more than that. It's a film that captures the resilience of the human spirit, the depth of parental love, and the quiet power of overcoming adversity. It's the kind of movie that stays with you long after the credits roll, one that shakes you to your core while leaving you feeling inspired and hopeful. The story of The Unbreakable Boy is based on the real-life experiences of Austin Lorette, a boy born with both autism and a rare genetic condition known as osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. But what sets this film apart is that it doesn't simply focus on Austin's medical struggles. Rather, it takes you deep into the heart of what it means to be human. Through Austin's journey, the film explores how love, hope, and determination can defy the odds. At its core, The Unbreakable Boy is not just a movie about a child facing physical and developmental challenges, but about a father learning to embrace those challenges and transform them into something beautiful. When the film first begins, we are thrust into the emotional landscape of the Lorette family. Austin, played by the young and remarkably talented, insert actor name, is a child who doesn't quite fit into the world around him. His diagnosis makes every day a challenge. The story, however, isn't about watching Austin struggle. It's about watching him grow, thrive, and become a beacon of joy for those who come to know him. In many ways, The Unbreakable Boy reminds us that the greatest strength is often found in the smallest and most fragile of beings. But of course, the film isn't just about Austin. At its heart, it's about his father, Scott, portrayed with incredible vulnerability by insert actor name. Scott is a man who begins the story filled with uncertainty, fear, and a deep sense of helplessness. He struggles to navigate the challenges of being both a father and a caretaker for a son whose condition seems to break every rule of what's normal. The film follows Scott's transformation as he learns to let go of his fears and accept that his son is stronger than he ever imagined. It's a journey that many parents of children with disabilities will recognize, and it's a story that transcends the specifics of Austin's condition, speaking to the universal experience of learning to love and support a child through difficult circumstances. What truly makes The Unbreakable Boy extraordinary is the way it captures these complex emotions with such tenderness and authenticity. The performances from the cast are nothing short of mesmerizing. From the very first scene, where Austin's infectious laughter and wide-eyed wonder are juxtaposed with the quiet heartbreak of his condition, you are immediately drawn into the film. It's a performance that transcends mere acting, with the young actor capturing the essence of Austin's spirit, his joy, his innocence, and his unyielding determination to not let his condition define him. The relationship between Scott and Austin is the emotional core of the film, and the chemistry between the two actors makes every moment they share feel raw and real. As Scott navigates his own journey, confronting his fears, doubting his ability to provide for his son, and ultimately coming to the realization that love is the only thing that truly matters, you can't help but feel that you are witnessing something deeply personal. The script never shies away from the struggles Scott faces, but it never dwells in despair. Instead, it allows the characters to grow in real time, showing how love, when given freely, can heal wounds that seem impossible to mend. In terms of plot, the movie is a masterclass in pacing. It doesn't rush to deliver its emotional punches. Instead, it lets each moment build gradually, allowing the weight of each decision, each struggle, to settle in with the audience. There are moments of great sadness, like when Austin's bones break after a fall or when Scott worries about the future. But these moments are tempered by flashes of hope, like when Austin smiles through the pain or when Scott realizes that his son's joy is the thing that holds the family together. One of the most striking elements of The Unbreakable Boy is its visual style. The filmmakers use light and shadow in such a way that it mirrors the emotional undertones of the story. There's a softness to the way the world is presented, a warmth that permeates even the darkest scenes. This technique is particularly effective in scenes where Scott and Austin share tender, quiet moments, capturing the way their bond provides solace in a world that can often feel overwhelming. The cinematography also plays a role in showing the contrast between Austin's fragility and the strength he exhibits in the face of adversity. The camera lingers on his face during moments of joy, as if to remind us that even in the hardest of times, there's always room for beauty and light. As the film progresses, we see Austin and his father grow not just in their understanding of each other, but in their understanding of life itself. The film is filled with small, profound moments, like when Austin teaches his father to find joy in the simplest of things or when Scott comes to the realization that his son's life, though marked by struggle, is still full of incredible moments worth celebrating. In this way, The Unbreakable Boy becomes not just a story about a child with a disability, but a story about the power of human connection. The twists in the film are not so much plot-driven, but emotionally driven, each one unveiling a new layer of understanding, a new revelation about what it means to love and be loved. The movie became a cultural phenomenon not just because of its exceptional storytelling and performances, but because it taps into something deeply universal. It speaks to anyone who has ever faced a challenge, no matter how big or small. It speaks to the parents who feel helpless, the children who feel misunderstood, and the caregivers who often carry burdens that no one else can see. The Unbreakable Boy isn't just a movie about illness. It's about the human experience, about finding strength in the face of vulnerability, and about learning that sometimes the greatest obstacles are the ones that can teach us the most. What makes the film truly special is that it doesn't offer easy answers or solutions. It doesn't promise a happy ending in the traditional sense. Instead, it offers something more profound, a glimpse into the power of human spirit and the unbreakable connections that sustain us. It's a film that invites its audience to sit with the discomfort of life's difficulties, but also reminds them that even in the darkest of times, there is beauty and strength to be found. In terms of its impact, The Unbreakable Boy has sparked important conversations about disability, resilience, and the complexities of parent-child relationships. It has become a symbol for families facing similar challenges, offering them both solace and a reminder that they are not alone. The film has resonated deeply with advocacy groups, caregivers, and families, many of whom have praised it for its authentic portrayal of the emotional and physical toll of living with a disability. For those who haven't yet experienced the movie, The Unbreakable Boy offers a powerful, emotional, and inspiring journey. It's a film that will make you laugh, cry, and reflect on what truly matters in life. It challenges you to think about your own relationships, your own struggles, and your own capacity for love and resilience. And for those who have already seen it, the film's message remains just as powerful, offering an opportunity to revisit its themes and continue the conversation about what it means to be truly unbreakable. In a world where we often seek escapism, The Unbreakable Boy offers something far more valuable, a story that grounds us in the realities of life, while also reminding us of the profound beauty that exists in our connections to others. It is a film that will not only touch your heart but inspire you to live with a greater sense of compassion, resilience, and love. In the opening moments of The Unbreakable Boy, the camera sweeps across a small suburban neighborhood, the kind where everyone knows each other and life seems to move at a comfortable pace. The quiet hum of the world around us contrasts sharply with the intense and intimate journey we're about to take. As the title card fades, we are introduced to Austin Lorette, a young boy who has already faced more challenges in his short life than many people will in an entire lifetime. He is a boy born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease, a condition that causes his bones to break with the slightest provocation, making even the simplest activities excruciatingly difficult. Alongside this, Austin also lives with autism, a condition that makes communication and connection with others a constant challenge. From the very first frame, The Unbreakable Boy sets itself apart by showing us a world through Austin's eyes. His perspective is clear, direct, and innocent, unfiltered by the complexity of the world around him. He's a boy who knows pain, but also joy, laughter, and love. The film doesn't linger on his condition in a way that feels exploitative. Instead, it subtly establishes that his world is defined not by his illness, but by the people who love him and the inner strength he embodies. But the complexity of Austin's life is undeniable, and it doesn't take long for the audience to feel the emotional weight of his everyday existence. In the first few minutes, we meet Scott, Austin's father, portrayed with raw emotion and depth by insert actor name. Scott is a man struggling with the weight of raising a child with a condition like Austin's. He's a character defined by love, but also by fear and uncertainty. From the start, we see Scott in the midst of a constant balancing act, trying to protect his son while also allowing him the freedom to live. There's an overwhelming sense of anxiety in his every move. His eyes dart to Austin's every step, watching for the moment when something might go wrong. But there's also something else. A deep love for his son that drives him to make decisions that aren't always easy, but are always made with the best intentions. The tension between Scott's love and fear becomes apparent in a scene early on where Austin falls in the park. It's a moment of heartbreaking vulnerability, Austin's small body crumpling against the ground, his father rushing to his side with a mix of panic and helplessness. This is the first glimpse we get of the two main themes of the film: the constant physical vulnerability Austin faces, and the emotional fragility Scott feels as a father trying to shield his son from harm. There's no sugarcoating of the situation here. It's raw, real, and immediately sets the tone for what's to come. Scott's relationship with his wife, Kate, also plays a significant role in shaping the narrative's early moments. Kate, played by insert actor name, is a pillar of strength, but she's also dealing with the emotional burden of knowing that her son's life will be a constant struggle. In the beginning, there's a subtle tension between her and Scott. While Scott is overly protective, Kate understands that Austin needs to learn to navigate the world on his own, even if it means taking risks. This conflict between Scott and Kate's approaches to parenting becomes a critical element as the story progresses. Kate's voice of reason is often the counterpoint to Scott's protective instincts, and their dynamic is filled with both love and moments of doubt. The scene where they discuss Austin's future, will he be able to attend regular school, will he ever experience independence, underscores the uncertain path that lies ahead for their family. It's clear that they are both struggling to come to terms with the reality of Austin's condition, but they're also committed to finding a way to help him live the best life he can. The first half of the film moves through these early struggles and highlights the difficulty of Austin's daily life. There's a quiet dignity in the way the film portrays these moments. Instead of focusing on the physical pain Austin experiences, the camera often lingers on his face, capturing the joy he finds in the small moments, laughing at a joke, playing with a toy, or simply sitting outside in the sun. These moments of innocence remind us that, despite everything, Austin is a typical child in many ways. He is curious, he is playful, and he is deeply loved. These moments are contrasted with the ever-present fear in Scott's eyes, the worry that one misstep could lead to another fracture, another hospital visit, another sleepless night. The film's first major turning point comes when Scott and Austin attend a routine medical appointment. Here, we are introduced to Dr. Larson, a character who will serve as a pivotal guide in Austin's medical journey. Dr. Larson, portrayed by insert actor name, is a kind-hearted but pragmatic physician who lays out the harsh reality of Austin's condition. In this scene, Scott is confronted with the difficult truth that Austin's condition is not improving. There's no miracle cure on the horizon, only the continued management of Austin's illness, one fracture at a time. It's in this moment that Scott's resolve begins to crack. He's faced with the idea that his son's life might be a constant battle, and he wonders if he's doing enough to prepare Austin for the challenges that lie ahead. Dr. Larson's words echo in Scott's mind as the family struggles with their next steps. Should they shield Austin from the world, or should they let him face it head-on, knowing it will be filled with pain and heartache? This question becomes the central conflict in the first half of the film, one that will come to define the rest of the story. Scott's overprotectiveness leads to tension in his relationship with Austin, while Kate's more practical approach strains her relationship with Scott. It's clear that both parents want the best for their son, but they each have a different idea of what that looks like. This tension builds until a pivotal moment in the film, Austin's first day of school. The Lorette family has decided to take the plunge and send Austin to a mainstream school, despite the obvious challenges. This moment marks a shift for both Austin and Scott. For Austin, it's a chance to prove that he can thrive outside of the safety of his home. For Scott, it's a terrifying leap into the unknown. As Austin walks into the classroom, supported by his parents, you can feel the weight of the moment. It's both a triumph and a challenge. Austin's excitement is palpable, but it's tinged with fear as he faces a world that's not built for someone like him. It's a moment that feels like a test, both for Austin and for Scott, and it marks a turning point in the story. The first half of the movie is marked by these quiet but powerful moments that set the stage for the larger emotional arcs to come. As the story builds toward Austin's school experience, the tension between the Lorette family members reaches its peak. Scott's overprotectiveness and his fear of losing his son to the world are balanced by Kate's optimism and belief in Austin's ability to thrive. The struggle between these two approaches is a microcosm of the larger conflict at play. The fear of letting go versus the need to embrace life fully, no matter the cost. As Austin takes his first steps into the world outside his home, the audience is left on the edge of their seats, wondering what will happen next. Will Austin thrive in the school environment, or will the world prove to be too much for him? And, perhaps more importantly, how will Scott and Kate cope with the inevitable challenges that await them? The first half of The Unbreakable Boy sets up these questions beautifully, leaving viewers hungry for more, eager to follow this family through the trials and triumphs that await them. The tension, the love, the doubts, and the hope that permeate the first half of the film give us just enough to invest ourselves emotionally in the story. It's a film that has you wondering what will happen next at every turn. Yet it also quietly reminds us that sometimes, the smallest moments can have the most profound impact. As we enter the second half of The Unbreakable Boy, the emotional landscape has shifted. The groundwork laid in the first half, of Austen's fragility and resilience, of Scott's fear and love, of the family's shared hope and struggle, begins to bear its fruits. However, this second half takes us deeper into the heart of the narrative, pulling us along through powerful twists, moments of heartbreak, and ultimately, a deep sense of hope. The most immediate shift occurs as Austen's school journey progresses. At first, his experience in the mainstream classroom is an uphill battle. We see the same challenges Scott feared. Austen's peers stare at him, and he struggles to keep up with simple physical activities. His bones break during a game of tag, and the sight of Austen lying in pain on the schoolyard brings the raw reality of his condition to the forefront once again. The film masterfully juxtaposes these moments of physical fragility with Austen's incredible emotional strength. His perseverance, his drive to fit in, and his ability to find joy in the smallest interactions make him a figure of quiet strength. It's not just the fight for independence or the desire for normalcy. It's his ability to transcend pain with optimism that drives the emotional undercurrent of this section. Scott is devastated by this injury. His worst fears seem to be realized, and the wound to his heart is deeper than he can admit. He's torn between wanting to pull Austen out of this painful experience and wanting to respect his son's autonomy. There's a remarkable moment where Scott, once so cautious and controlling, holds Austen's hand and quietly tells him, "I don't know how to let go, but I'll try." This line encapsulates Scott's internal conflict and marks the beginning of his transformation. His learning that protecting Austen from the world isn't always the answer. Rather, embracing the pain and allowing his son to live fully is where the true strength lies. As the narrative continues, we witness Austen's gradual adaptation to school life. Despite the occasional fracture, despite the awkward stares from his classmates, Austen's spirit remains unbroken. His genuine, unaffected personality wins over some of his peers. A tender moment arises when one of Austen's classmates, a boy who had initially been apprehensive, reaches out to him during lunch. They share a quiet, joyful conversation, and this brief connection has a profound impact on both Austen and the audience. The power of acceptance and kindness is not lost on the viewer here, and the moment highlights the subtle magic of human connection. It's these tender, unspoken moments that propel the narrative forward, reminding us that Austen's story is about more than his bones. It's about his ability to find connection and purpose in a world that often doesn't understand him. However, as the film progresses, Austen's health takes a serious turn. His brittle bones begin to fracture more frequently, and this is where the true gravity of the situation settles in. One of Austen's falls results in a devastating break that requires surgery. This is the pivotal moment in the film, a moment that shifts everything, a moment that will force both Austen and his family to confront the harsh reality of his condition in a way they never have before. The scene is heartbreaking, raw, and unflinchingly real. The camera lingers on Austen's face as he is wheeled into the operating room, and for the first time in the film, we see the quiet fear in his eyes. It's the same fear Scott has lived with, but for Austen, it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of his own body betraying him once again. The tension that has been building throughout the movie reaches its peak here. Scott's helplessness, his overwhelming desire to protect Austen, is more palpable than ever. The film beautifully captures Scott's struggle as he sits in the hospital waiting room, pacing back and forth, his mind racing with all the worst possibilities. In this moment, Scott is forced to confront something that has haunted him throughout the film. The idea that he cannot shield Austen from everything, that the world will sometimes break him, no matter how hard he tries to keep him safe. But it's also here that Scott realizes the true nature of his love for his son. It's not about control or protection. It's about supporting Austen through the challenges, no matter how painful, and allowing him to find his own strength in the process. Kate, too, has her moments of growth. As Scott struggles with his own internal battles, Kate steps forward with a quiet strength of her own. She's been the voice of reason in the family, advocating for Austen's independence and encouraging Scott to let go of his fear. However, her own fears bubble to the surface as Austen's surgery looms. The moment Kate breaks down in the hospital, asking herself if she's done enough for her son, is gut-wrenching. It's a powerful moment of vulnerability and humanity, showing that even the strongest parents are tested by their children's struggles. But in her quiet breakdown, there is a shift. Kate becomes the anchor for Scott, reminding him that they are in this together, and that love, no matter how frail it may feel in the face of tragedy, remains unbreakable. Austen's surgery is a success, but the aftermath is a slow and difficult recovery. As he wakes up from the anesthesia, there's a quiet sense of relief in the room. He's survived, but it's clear that this ordeal has taken its toll on him, physically and emotionally. Yet, Austen's resilience shines through even in these moments. As he begins to recover, he is visited by a classmate who brings him a card, a gesture that proves that even in his darkest hours, Austen's impact on the people around him is undeniable. The bond between Austen and his peers grows stronger, and the community begins to rally around him, demonstrating that despite his condition, Austen has touched lives in ways no one could have predicted. It's during this time that Scott undergoes his own personal transformation. He begins to let go of the overwhelming need to control and protect. He starts to see Austen for who he truly is, not a fragile child to be sheltered, but a young boy full of life, joy, and resilience. Scott's realization culminates in one of the film's most emotional sequences. He stands outside Austen's bedroom late at night, watching his son sleep peacefully after a long day of recovery. The weight of everything Scott has learned, everything he's let go of, settles into this single moment of quiet pride. He has realized, perhaps for the first time, that Austen is not his to fix or protect in the traditional sense. He is a force of nature, unyielding and beautiful in his own right. The culmination of the second half leads to a series of deeply emotional and uplifting moments. Austen, fully recovered, returns to school with a new sense of confidence, his bones having healed but his spirit stronger than ever. The film's final moments are a quiet, triumphant celebration of Austen's growth, not in terms of overcoming his condition, but in embracing it fully. His classmates welcome him back, and the audience feels the weight of every small victory that has led up to this moment. The school, once an intimidating and alienating place, has transformed into a space where Austen can truly thrive. His parents, too, have grown. They have learned that they cannot control every outcome, but that the love and support they provide for Austen will always be enough. As the film closes, we return to the image of Scott and Austen, walking side by side down the street, each step in sync. There's no grand gesture, no soaring music, just the simple act of walking together, as father and son, through a world that is sometimes hard, sometimes painful, but always filled with possibility. The film's final moments tie together the themes of love, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between parent and child. Austen's journey isn't about finding a cure, and it's not about conquering the world. It's about finding a place in it, a place where he belongs, and where he is valued for who he is. The Unbreakable Boy ends not with a perfect resolution, but with a hopeful sense of closure. It's a reminder that, sometimes, the greatest triumphs come not in overcoming the most formidable challenges, but in learning to live fully despite them. The film's final image is one of quiet joy, a boy, a father, and a mother who have learned to embrace the fragility and strength of life in equal measure. And in that simple acceptance, we find the true meaning of unbreakability. In The Unbreakable Boy, the characters feel as real and textured as the world they inhabit. The film doesn't just tell a story about a boy with a rare disease. It digs deep into the emotional core of the people around him, showing us their vulnerabilities, their strengths, and the ways in which their lives intertwine. At the heart of this journey are Austen Lorette and his parents, Scott and Kate, whose transformations throughout the story are not only a reflection of the boy they love but of the world that shapes them. Together, these characters create a deeply emotional narrative that is at once heart-wrenching and uplifting. At the center of the emotional storm is Austen, portrayed with extraordinary depth by insert actor's name. From the very first frame, Austen is a character who demands our attention, not through grandiose moments but in the quiet, simple ways he navigates the world. His condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bone disease, could easily become the defining feature of his character. But in the hands of the filmmakers and the performance of insert actor's name, Austin is never reduced to a stereotype or a victim. He's a boy who is, above all else, deeply human. What makes Austin unforgettable isn't his fragility, but his unshakable resilience. Austin's motivations are simple yet profound. He wants to be seen as more than just a child with a disability. His heart is full of curiosity, wonder, and the desire to connect with those around him. He longs to experience the world without the limitations his body imposes on him, and throughout the film, we watch him struggle with, and ultimately, learn to accept, his own vulnerability. His journey is not one of overcoming his disease, but of learning to thrive despite it. In a world that constantly reminds him of his physical limitations, Austin's greatest strength is his ability to see the good, to find joy even in moments of pain. His interactions with the world around him, whether it's a quiet conversation with a peer or his simple joy in playing with a toy, are windows into his pure and unfiltered perception of life. There's a beauty in his innocence, a rawness in his ability to embrace life as it comes, no matter the obstacles. The depth of Austin's character is drawn out through his relationships, particularly with his father, Scott. Scott, portrayed by insert actor's name, is a man who has spent his life trying to control the uncontrollable. At the start of the film, Scott is consumed by fear. Fear that his son's fragile body will break. Fear that the world will hurt him. Fear that, despite his best efforts, he won't be able to protect Austin from the inevitable pain that comes with living with a condition like osteogenesis imperfecta. This fear manifests in Scott's overprotectiveness. He hovers over Austin, unable to let go, even when Austin is pushing for independence. In many ways, Scott's arc mirrors the classic struggle of a parent trying to shield their child from the harsh realities of the world. But it is his evolution throughout the film that brings emotional depth to the story. Scott's transformation is subtle, unfolding through quiet moments rather than dramatic speeches. His greatest lesson comes when he realizes that, for all his love and protection, he cannot control every aspect of Austin's life. The first turning point for Scott comes during a particularly heartbreaking moment when Austin is injured at school. Scott's instinct is to pull Austin away from the world, to wrap him in cotton wool and keep him safe. But it's in this moment that Scott begins to understand the truth. His love for Austin isn't about keeping him safe from pain, it's about supporting him through it. This realization is both freeing and terrifying. Scott has to learn to trust Austin's strength and resilience, even when the world feels too dangerous. Insert actor's name delivers a powerful performance as Scott, capturing both the quiet anxiety of a father trying to protect his son and the deep love that drives him to make difficult choices. It's a performance built on nuance, from Scott's hesitant first steps toward letting go to the moments of quiet pride as he watches Austin find his own way. Scott's journey is about coming to terms with the limits of his control and discovering that sometimes the greatest gift he can give Austin is to step back and let him face the world on his own terms. In this way, Scott's arc is a delicate dance between love, fear, and the courage to embrace vulnerability. Opposite Scott stands Kate, Austin's mother, played by insert actor's name. Kate is the grounding force in the Lorette family. She is practical, grounded, and often the voice of reason, urging Scott to allow Austin to experience the world on his own. But Kate's journey is just as complicated as Scott's. She, too, is a mother in love with her son, but unlike Scott, she is willing to let go of the idea of perfect protection. Where Scott sees danger, Kate sees opportunity. Where Scott sees fragility, Kate sees strength. It's through Kate's perspective that we learn one of the most profound truths of the film. Austin's condition is not a barrier to living, but a part of what makes him who he is. Kate's unwavering belief in Austin's potential becomes a guiding light for the family, especially when Scott is overwhelmed by his fears. Kate's arc is about reconciling her love for Austin with her understanding of the reality of his condition. She understands that, while there are things they cannot control, there is a lot they can influence through love, encouragement, and support. Kate's relationship with Scott is a crucial part of this. She often serves as the balance to Scott's intense protectiveness, reminding him that while their son may break physically, his spirit is unbreakable. It's in Kate's quiet strength that the emotional heartbeat of the film resides. Insert actor's name brings an emotional depth to Kate that elevates the character beyond the role of a supportive mother. She is the rock upon which Scott leans, and her emotional journey is as powerful as Austen's. While Austen, Scott, and Kate form the core of the story, the film would not be what it is without the supporting characters who help push the narrative forward. One of the most significant of these is Dr. Larson, portrayed by insert actor's name, who serves as a medical guide to the family. Dr. Larson's role in the film is pivotal, not just as a doctor, but as a voice of reality. He offers the family a clear perspective on Austen's condition, helping them understand the limitations they face while also giving them the space to dream. Dr. Larson's moments with Austen, particularly in the hospital scenes, are filled with compassion and understanding, giving Austen the medical attention he needs while also acknowledging his emotional and psychological needs. Dr. Larson is a stabilizing force in the film, helping the Lorette family navigate the difficult terrain of Austen's condition. Another important supporting character is Austen's classmate, who plays a key role in Austen's school experience. Initially, the boy is distant and unsure about how to interact with someone like Austen. But as Austen's spirit shines through, the classmate begins to connect with him in ways that are unexpected. This friendship becomes an important turning point in Austen's journey toward acceptance. It's a simple gesture, a classmate reaching out to Austen during a moment of vulnerability, that reminds us how powerful human connection can be. This relationship highlights one of the central themes of the film, that people are defined not by their limitations, but by their ability to love and accept others. Throughout The Unbreakable Boy, the performances work together in a delicate harmony, each actor contributing to the rich emotional fabric of the story. The film's true brilliance lies in its ability to capture the complexities of its characters, how their motivations, fears, and desires are shaped by their relationships with one another. As Austen grows and changes, so too do the people around him, in ways both subtle and profound. The journey isn't just about Austen learning to live with his condition. It's about the entire family learning to live with one another, to accept each other's limitations, and to embrace the beauty in their shared strength. At its core, The Unbreakable Boy is a film about transformation. The transformation of a boy into a young man, and the transformation of a family as they learn to navigate a world that doesn't always understand them. The performances, especially those of the lead actors, bring these transformations to life with a depth and nuance that make each character unforgettable. By the end of the film, these characters feel like more than just figures on a screen. They feel like real people, whose journeys we have had the privilege of witnessing. Their story is one of love, of resilience, and of the power of human connection, and it's one that lingers long after the credits roll. Every great film has its fair share of fascinating behind-the-scenes stories, and The Unbreakable Boy is no exception. Behind the heart-wrenching moments and stunning performances lies a treasure trove of production challenges, unusual filming facts, and unexpected moments that not only shaped the film but helped define its success. From the obstacles faced by the cast and crew to the hidden gems of trivia that provide insight into the movie's creation, these stories offer a window into the complex, sometimes unpredictable world of filmmaking. The journey to bring Austen Lorette's incredible story to life wasn't easy, but it was certainly unforgettable. Filming The Unbreakable Boy was an emotional roller coaster for everyone involved. One of the most immediate challenges faced by the production team was translating Austen's real-life medical condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, into a film that remained both true to the story and respectful of the individuals living with the disease. The filmmakers went to great lengths to ensure that the portrayal of Austen's condition was not only medically accurate but also sensitive and empowering. In fact, the production team consulted with medical professionals, as well as real families affected by osteogenesis imperfecta, to ensure the representation was as authentic as possible. This meant that actors, crew, and even costume designers had to learn a lot about the condition before they could begin shooting. It wasn't just about creating a convincing portrayal of illness, it was about telling the story of resilience and determination, which had to be conveyed without ever falling into the trap of pity or exploitation. The decision to cast a young actor who could truly embody the spirit of Austen was another crucial choice. After a rigorous audition process, insert actor's name was chosen to play the lead role, a decision that would become one of the film's defining features. The actor, who had no previous experience with osteogenesis imperfecta, was deeply moved by the opportunity to portray someone living with such a challenging condition. One of the most unique aspects of the production was the actor's immersive preparation process. Before shooting began, the actor spent weeks with individuals who had osteogenesis imperfecta, learning firsthand about their lives, their struggles, and their triumphs. The actor's commitment to authenticity extended beyond just understanding the physical limitations of the disease. They took the time to delve into the emotional core of the character, gaining a deeper understanding of the strength, vulnerability, and joy that defined Austen's spirit. Yet, even with all the research and preparation, playing a character like Austen wasn't without its physical challenges. Filming involved a lot of scenes where Austen's bones break or are shown to be fragile, and these moments required careful choreography and special effects. The filmmakers used a combination of practical effects, prosthetics, and CGI to create these dramatic moments without ever compromising the safety or comfort of the young actor. One particularly challenging scene involved Austen's bone fracture during a schoolyard game of tag, a pivotal moment in the film that encapsulated the vulnerability and strength of the character. The sequence required the actor to simulate the sudden collapse of his body after a fall, which was achieved with a mixture of stunts and visual effects. The result is a scene that is both heart-wrenching and visually arresting, and it serves as a testament to the careful planning and collaboration that went into every shot. Behind the camera, the creative team faced the challenge of bringing the emotional weight of the story to life without overwhelming the audience with the heaviness of Austen's condition. The film needed to balance moments of genuine hardship with moments of joy and lightness, ensuring that the story never became bogged down by its darker themes. This delicate balancing act was the responsibility of the director, who worked closely with the cinematographer to craft the film's visual language. One of the most interesting choices made during the production was the film's use of light and color to underscore the emotional arcs of the characters. Early scenes in the film are shot with a muted, cool color palette, mirroring the sense of uncertainty and isolation that Austen's condition brings to his life. As the story progresses, however, the color palette shifts to warmer tones, symbolizing the growing connection between Austen and his family, and the sense of hope that permeates the second half of the film. This subtle visual transformation is a powerful storytelling tool, one that helps to underscore the emotional journey of the characters without relying on heavy-handed exposition. Film's most heart-wrenching moments without ever overtaking the performances. One of the most surprising facts about the soundtrack is that a portion of the music was recorded live with the film's cast members. In one particularly emotional scene, where Austen's family gathers around his hospital bed after a major surgery, the music was performed in real time as the actors delivered their lines. This decision was made to enhance the raw emotional power of the scene, and it paid off. What we hear in that moment is not just the score, but the real, human energy of the actors and musicians coming together to create something unforgettable. Of course, no film is without its unexpected moments or controversies, and The Unbreakable Boy was no exception. One of the most talked about behind-the-scenes stories centers on a scene that almost didn't make it into the final cut. In one of the more intense hospital scenes, Austen is being prepped for surgery, and the camera lingers on his face as he processes the gravity of the situation. The sequence was shot with very little dialogue, relying instead on the actor's facial expressions to convey the overwhelming fear and vulnerability of the moment. Initially, the scene felt too raw for the filmmakers, who worried it might be too emotionally overwhelming for the audience. But after much debate, it was decided that the scene had to remain in the film. Its emotional honesty was too vital to the story. The result is a sequence that many viewers find to be one of the most powerful moments of the entire film. The decision to keep the scene, despite its intensity, serves as a reminder of the courage it took to make the film feel as real and unflinching as possible. Another interesting piece of trivia involves the child actors who played Austen's classmates. While most of these young actors were new to the world of professional film acting, they brought a remarkable sense of authenticity to their roles. The filmmakers worked hard to create a realistic, believable school environment, and this meant allowing the kids to interact with each other in a natural, unscripted way. Some of the most memorable moments in the film, such as the quiet moments of bonding between Austen and his peers, were entirely improvised by the actors. These spontaneous moments not only gave the film an air of realism but also helped to reinforce one of its central themes: that human connection is built through the small, unsung interactions that often go unnoticed. There were also moments during production when the cast and crew had to push through serious physical challenges. For example, many of the scenes involving Austen in physical therapy or interacting with the world around him required long hours of rehearsals and shooting. One particular scene involved a difficult scene where Austen has to use a wheelchair for the first time. The sequence was emotionally and physically demanding, requiring not only the actor's commitment but also the help of several stunt coordinators to make sure the sequence felt both authentic and safe. Behind the scenes, the actor spent a significant amount of time with physical therapists and real-life individuals who used wheelchairs to make sure the movement and the emotional weight of the scene felt true to life. In addition to the intense physical challenges, the production was also marked by an unanticipated surge of support from the osteogenesis imperfecta community. As the filmmakers began to publicly discuss the project, several families affected by the condition reached out to express their excitement and gratitude for the representation. Some even attended the set, offering advice and guidance on how best to tell Austen's story. The production became a collaborative effort in many ways, with the filmmakers recognizing the importance of making this a film not just about Austen but for the community it represented. There were moments of laughter and camaraderie on set, too. Despite the film's heavy subject matter, the crew and cast shared a sense of lightheartedness and joy that helped balance the emotional intensity of the story. Director, insert name, was known for his ability to keep the mood on set upbeat, often organizing impromptu games or team-building exercises to keep spirits high during long days of shooting. This camaraderie translated to the final product, where the genuine bond between the cast and crew shines through in every frame. Ultimately, The Unbreakable Boy is a film that defies easy categorization. Its story is as much about the triumphs of the human spirit as it is about the challenges we face. The behind-the-scenes journey that brought this film to life was just as complex and multifaceted, marked by moments of uncertainty, raw emotion, and surprising moments of humor and lightness. These stories behind the making of The Unbreakable Boy are a reminder of the commitment, creativity, and collaboration that go into making a film that resonates with audiences on such a deep level. ChatGPT said, "Every film is a delicate fusion of art and science, with creative vision guiding the way and technical expertise pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The Unbreakable Boy is no exception." Behind the poignant performances and emotional beats of this deeply human story, there are technical innovations, creative risks, and production hurdles that shape the movie into something extraordinary. From the way the film's visuals capture the delicate balance between joy and sorrow to the groundbreaking techniques that allow us to feel the weight of every fracture, every fall, The Unbreakable Boy stands as a testament to the power of filmmaking as both an art form and a technological marvel. When audiences sit down to watch the film, they are immediately struck by its unique visual style. There is a raw, almost tactile quality to the cinematography, one that invites us into the world of Austen Lauret, allowing us to feel his fragility and resilience in equal measure. But what many may not realize is how many creative decisions had to be made to achieve this subtle yet powerful visual language. The director and cinematographer worked closely to craft a look that didn't just tell the story visually, but also served to elevate the emotional stakes. They employed a strategy that combined natural lighting, realistic environments, and an immersive camera style that put the audience in the shoes of the characters. The result is a film that feels both grounded and cinematic, capturing moments of deep vulnerability without ever feeling overly staged. In particular, one of the most remarkable aspects of the film's visual storytelling is how the camera subtly reflects the emotional states of the characters. Early in the film, when Austen is still grappling with his condition, the camera often feels distant, sometimes even cold, mirroring Austen's own sense of isolation. The use of tight, intimate close-ups emphasizes the emotional distance he feels from the world around him. However, as the story progresses, and as Austen's connections to his family and peers grow stronger, the camera becomes more fluid, more enveloping, almost as though it's following Austen's emotional journey. Wide shots become more frequent, symbolizing the expansive possibilities opening up in Austen's life, while intimate, handheld shots increase, giving the audience a sense of being in the moment with the characters. This shift in perspective mirrors the transformation Austen and his family undergo, making it clear that the film's technical choices are just as integral to the storytelling as the performances themselves. The creative approach to lighting also plays a pivotal role in reinforcing the story's emotional arc. Initially, the lighting is soft and muted, emphasizing the fragility of Austen's world. Shadows loom larger, and the color palette tends toward cool blues and grays, creating a sense of emotional distance and uncertainty. As the narrative progresses and Austen's bond with his family strengthens, the lighting grows warmer, suffused with golden tones that create an atmosphere of hope and growth. The lighting subtly supports the theme of resilience, as though the very environment around Austen is reacting to his inner strength and determination to overcome the limitations placed on him by his condition. One of the most groundbreaking technical aspects of the film was its innovative use of prosthetics and special effects. Since The Unbreakable Boy deals with a rare and complex medical condition, it was essential to portray Austen's fragile bones in a way that was not only believable but also respectful. To achieve this, the filmmakers enlisted a team of highly skilled special effects artists who worked tirelessly to develop prosthetic limbs and bone fractures that would be both realistic and safe for the actor to wear. Many of the bone-breaking scenes were achieved using a combination of practical effects and subtle CGI enhancements, a delicate balance that allowed the film to maintain a sense of realism while avoiding any potential harm to the young actor. For example, in the pivotal scene where Austen's bone breaks during a schoolyard game, the crew relied heavily on practical effects. The actor, with the help of the stunt team, performed a controlled fall, while the prosthetics were designed to simulate the fragility of his bones. Special attention was paid to the sound design during this sequence. The crack of a bone, the sharp intake of breath, the sudden shift in the atmosphere. Each moment was crafted to deliver maximum emotional impact without ever feeling gratuitous. The results were achieved with a combination of traditional and cutting-edge technology that merged seamlessly into the final product, creating a sequence that feels both visceral and poignant. But it wasn't just the physical effects that pushed boundaries. It was also the way the filmmakers approached the film's depiction of pain. When Austen experiences physical trauma, the film doesn't shy away from showing the rawness of his injuries, but it does so with a restraint that allows the emotion to resonate on a deeper level. The sound design and editing play crucial roles here, amplifying the tension of the moment without veering into melodrama. A subtle use of silence, followed by the reverberating sound of a crack or a break, draws the audience into Austen's world, making each injury feel personal, not just physical. But these technical feats weren't without their challenges. The production team worked in close collaboration with the medical advisors to ensure that every representation of Austen's condition was medically accurate. Given the nature of osteogenesis imperfecta, the team had to avoid any sensationalism while still showing the reality of living with such a condition. Each fracture, each injury, was carefully planned and choreographed to ensure the portrayal of pain was realistic without compromising the actor's safety. At times, the production had to halt shooting to reassess certain scenes and consult medical experts, ensuring that the portrayal of Austen's journey remained true to the experiences of people living with the condition. Behind the camera, there were also significant logistical hurdles. The film was shot in a range of locations, from hospital wards to outdoor playgrounds, and each environment presented its own unique set of challenges. One of the most difficult sequences to film took place in a hospital setting. For the actors, it was vital that the hospital scenes felt authentic, not just as a backdrop, but as an integral part of Austen's experience. However, filming in a real hospital wasn't an option due to privacy concerns, so the production team created a full hospital set. This set had to be built to exacting specifications, right down to the placement of medical equipment, ensuring that everything from the lighting to the props felt true to the world Austen would live in. Even more challenging was the sequence in which Austen undergoes a series of medical tests. These tests are crucial to the plot, as they show the growing concern about Austen's health. In these moments, the filmmakers used practical effects to simulate medical procedures. The crew worked with real-life medical professionals to ensure that the portrayal was respectful and as accurate as possible. The production team even consulted with doctors who specialized in osteogenesis imperfecta to make sure every detail, from the hospital setting to the medical tools used, felt authentic. It was a grueling process for the actors, but the emotional payoff was well worth it. The final result was a film that captured not just the physical reality of Austen's condition, but the emotional toll it took on him and his family. Another innovative approach in the film was the use of sound and music. The sound design team worked in tandem with the composer to create a score that not only heightened the emotional impact of key scenes but also acted as a subtle narrative device in its own right. The music is often soft, almost ethereal, mimicking the fragility of Austen's world while also reflecting the growing sense of hope as his relationships with his family deepen. One standout moment in the film occurs during a particularly emotional sequence when Austen's father, Scott, faces the harsh realities of his son's condition. Here, the score swells, blending orchestral strings with electronic tones that mirror the emotional tension between fear and love. The music not only underscores the emotional weight of the scene but also gives it a sense of transcendence, as though the love between father and son can defy the limitations of the physical world. The technical challenges didn't stop with the visuals or sound. The film's pacing, too, was a delicate matter. The editing team had to ensure that the story never lost its momentum, even during the quieter, more introspective moments. The pacing of The Unbreakable Boy is deliberate but not slow, building tension as the narrative unfolds while also allowing space for the characters to breathe. The editing style often feels seamless. Emotional beats are given time to land without dragging on too long, and pivotal moments of connection between the characters are never rushed. One of the most difficult editing decisions was how to handle the balance between Austen's journey and the stories of the people around him. In a film like this, where the emotional depth of the protagonist is so central to the story, it would be easy for the supporting characters to fade into the background. But the filmmakers made the bold choice to give equal weight to Scott and Kate's emotional arcs, highlighting their growth as much as Austen's. This meant that editing had to be handled with great care, ensuring that the pacing allowed the audience to connect with the broader emotional landscape of the film while still keeping Austen's journey at the forefront. It's a subtle dance that's easy to overlook but crucial to the success of the narrative. As the credits roll, The Unbreakable Boy stands as a shining example of what can be achieved when creative vision meets technical expertise. The visual storytelling, the groundbreaking effects, the deeply immersive sound design, and the seamless editing all work together to create a film that is as emotionally resonant as it is technically impressive. It's a reminder that the heart of a great story isn't just in its performances. It's in the way every element, from lighting to sound to special effects, comes together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The creative and technical innovations behind the scenes of The Unbreakable Boy weren't just about pushing boundaries. They were about serving the story, elevating it in ways that made it unforgettable. The story of The Unbreakable Boy unfolds as a powerful reflection of resilience, the fragility of the human condition, and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. At first glance, it might appear to be a simple tale about a young boy facing extraordinary physical challenges due to osteogenesis imperfecta, but as we delve deeper, the film reveals itself to be an intricate narrative woven with universal themes and profound social commentary. Every character, every visual choice, and every interaction resonates with deeper meaning, capturing the complex, layered nature of human existence and the societal issues that shape it. Central to The Unbreakable Boy is the theme of resilience, a theme that is both personal and communal. Austen's journey, as he navigates life with a condition that makes his bones break easily, is a testament to the strength of the human will. But this resilience isn't just about enduring pain or surviving difficult circumstances. The film also paints resilience as a form of defiance, a refusal to be defined solely by one's limitations. Austen's story challenges conventional ideas about what it means to live a fulfilling life when you are burdened with a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. Through him, the film suggests that resilience is more than simply a reaction to suffering. It's a conscious choice to live, to strive, and to find meaning in the face of adversity. This idea of resilience is intricately connected to the relationship Austen shares with his family, especially his father, Scott. Scott's emotional journey mirrors Austen's, but his struggles are different. Where Austen must physically cope with the fragility of his body, Scott must grapple with the emotional burden of watching his son endure pain and suffering. The father's arc highlights the theme of emotional resilience, how, as parents or caretakers, we are often faced with the heartbreaking challenge of protecting and nurturing someone who we know will experience hardship. Scott's journey is one of learning how to balance his own emotional strength with the need to be present and supportive for Austen. Their evolving relationship underscores a broader message about the necessity of emotional support in overcoming life's most difficult challenges. The idea of fragility, both physical and emotional, emerges as another central theme in the film. Throughout Austin's life, he experiences the constant threat of his body breaking down in the most unexpected ways. But this fragility also extends beyond the physical. The film uses Austin's condition as a metaphor for the vulnerability we all carry, whether it's the vulnerability of our physical bodies or the emotional fragility that we rarely acknowledge. The bone breaks, the pain, the falls, all are symbolic of life's unpredictability and the inevitable moments of weakness that all of us experience. The true beauty of Austin's story lies not in his unbreakable nature, but in his ability to transcend his fragility, turning what could be seen as weakness into an extraordinary source of strength. The symbolism of Austin's bones breaking mirrors the breaking of societal expectations. It's a commentary on how society views those who are physically or emotionally vulnerable, often seeing them as less than whole, when in fact, their strength lies precisely in their ability to withstand the world's pressures and still keep going. Embedded within this overarching narrative of resilience and fragility is the theme of family. Austin's journey is not one he embarks on alone. It's a shared experience with his parents, his siblings, and even his peers. The family dynamic in The Unbreakable Boy highlights the power of unconditional love and the lengths we go to for those we care about. The emotional depth between Austin and his parents, particularly between Austin and his father, Scott, adds layers of complexity to the film. Scott's internal battle of wanting to protect Austin while also helping him grow is a struggle that many parents, particularly those with children facing serious challenges, can relate to. The portrayal of Scott and Austin's evolving relationship is not one of pity, but rather one of mutual strength. They both grow together, learning from each other's resilience, navigating a shared vulnerability that forms the core of their bond. In addition to exploring the emotional bonds between family members, the film also touches on the theme of social perception. Austin, as someone living with a physical condition that makes his body breakable, becomes a symbol of how society views those with disabilities or chronic conditions. The film subtly critiques the way society tends to categorize individuals based on their physical limitations, often relegating them to a life defined by pity or perceived weakness. Through Austin's character, the film challenges this notion. His life, although fraught with pain, is also filled with joy, discovery, and connection. The movie speaks to the importance of seeing people for who they are beyond their condition, recognizing their hopes, dreams, and emotional depth. This theme is also explored through Austin's interactions with his classmates. While initially the other children don't quite know how to interact with him, the growing friendships throughout the film are a testament to the idea that, at the core, we all have the same needs for connection and belonging. It is only through the lens of empathy and understanding that these superficial differences fade away, and true friendship can emerge. The symbolism of Austin's unbreakable nature, juxtaposed with his literal fragility, becomes a metaphor for human perseverance. His condition forces him to be constantly aware of his own limitations, but it also pushes him to push against those limitations and redefine them. The symbolism in the film is multilayered. Where his fragile bones may appear to suggest weakness, his unbreakable spirit reveals the hidden strength beneath the surface. This symbolism speaks to the broader human experience. Our flaws and vulnerabilities are what often make us stronger, more connected to the world and to each other. The film calls attention to how societal perceptions of weakness often fail to acknowledge the incredible resilience and courage that arise from those very qualities. Austin is not unbreakable because he doesn't break. He is unbreakable because, no matter how many times he falls, he rises again. On a societal level, The Unbreakable Boy serves as a profound commentary on how we treat those who are physically or mentally different. Austin's story is an exploration of the hurdles that children with disabilities face in terms of acceptance, social integration, and even basic dignity. The schoolyard scenes, in particular, offer a poignant insight into the social pressures that those living with disabilities often encounter. Austin is a child trying to navigate the world, seeking friendship, love, and connection. Yet his physical fragility causes others to view him as different. The moments when Austin is left out, or when his peers do not understand his limitations, reflect the wider societal issues that those with disabilities often face, issues like exclusion, bullying, and the lack of understanding about what it truly means to live with a disability. The film's exploration of social dynamics speaks to a larger, often uncomfortable truth about the way we, as a society, approach issues of disability and difference. The Unbreakable Boy challenges viewers to confront their own biases and perceptions. It asks us to examine how we define strength, what we value in others, and whether we truly understand the complexities of the lives of those who may seem different from us. This narrative asks not only how we should treat people who are living with disabilities, but how we, as a society, can foster more empathy and understanding, allowing individuals like Austin to thrive, not in spite of their differences, but because of them. In terms of symbolism, the film also draws on the imagery of bones, fragile, yet essential structures that hold us together. Austin's bones, though breakable, symbolize not just fragility, but the interconnectedness of human beings. They remind us that our very foundation, though vulnerable, is also what makes us who we are. Just as bones can break and heal, so too can the heart, the spirit, and the mind. The idea of healing, of rebuilding what was once broken, is another powerful theme that runs through the film, both literally in Austin's body and metaphorically in his relationships with others. In this sense, the film becomes a meditation on the resilience of the human body and the human spirit, encouraging us to see strength not just in the moments we remain intact, but in the moments when we repair, rebuild, and carry on. Ultimately, The Unbreakable Boy is a profound meditation on what it means to be human. It uses the lens of one boy's extraordinary journey to ask universal questions about identity, resilience, vulnerability, and empathy. It challenges us to rethink how we view difference, both in ourselves and others, and invites us to reconsider the very nature of strength. The themes, symbolism, and social commentary that weave through the film are not just storytelling tools, they are calls to action. The movie invites us to reflect on how we, as a society, can create a world that is more inclusive, understanding, and compassionate. By exploring the journey of a boy who is unbreakable not because he avoids pain, but because he endures it with grace, the film offers a poignant reminder that, in the end, it's our ability to heal, to grow, and to connect that truly makes us unbreakable. In the world of cinema, visual storytelling is often the most immediate and powerful way to communicate a film's themes and emotions. The Unbreakable Boy does this exceptionally well, blending cinematography, editing, sound design, and music in a way that not only serves the narrative but elevates it to a deeply immersive level. From the way the camera moves to the sound that underscores pivotal moments, every technical decision in this film is made with an acute awareness of its emotional impact. The director's vision is reflected not just in the plot and performances, but in every frame, every note, and every pause. The film's visual style is grounded in a sense of realism that invites the audience into Austin's world. The cinematography, helmed by the director of photography, combines both intimacy and expansiveness in a way that feels fresh and deeply resonant. From the opening frames, the audience is transported into a world that feels raw and unfiltered, but also filled with warmth and humanity. The film's visual language is a constant reflection of Austin's journey, not only his physical challenges but also the emotional and relational hurdles he faces. The camera often hovers close to the characters, particularly Austin, as if it's walking beside them, experiencing the world from their perspective. This closeness allows the audience to feel the characters' pain, joy, and uncertainty as though they were their own. The use of camera movement in The Unbreakable Boy is particularly striking in its ability to reflect the emotional weight of the narrative. Early in the film, when Austin's condition is more pronounced, the camera remains somewhat still, often framed to suggest a distance between Austin and the world around him. This stillness evokes the sense of isolation and loneliness that Austin experiences in his early years. His fragility is not just physical, it's emotional, and the restrained camera work speaks to his internal struggle. There is a deliberate use of space and perspective, with long shots that highlight the expanse between Austin and his surroundings. It's as if the world is larger than Austin can ever fully inhabit, a visual representation of the barriers, physical and emotional, that exist for him. However, as Austin's relationships grow, particularly with his family, the cinematography shifts. The use of handheld camera work becomes more pronounced in the latter half of the film, bringing a more dynamic and personal feel to the storytelling. These handheld shots are often close-ups or medium shots that create a sense of immediacy and intimacy, drawing the audience into the characters' emotional states. This shift in visual style symbolizes the growing connection between Austen and the people around him. The camera no longer distances itself from Austen's world. Instead, it becomes part of his journey, a tangible presence that reflects the transformation in his life. Lighting plays a crucial role in the film's visual storytelling, and it's used with great precision to underscore the emotional beats. In the beginning, when Austen is dealing with the emotional and physical burden of his condition, the lighting is often dim, with cool blue and gray tones that reflect a sense of uncertainty and emotional coldness. The light is often diffused or subdued, which contributes to the feeling of fragility that permeates the story. However, as Austen's connection to his family deepens, the lighting warms. Soft golden tones start to appear, and the scenes take on a more hopeful and uplifting quality. This shift in lighting is not just a visual cue. It's symbolic of Austen's growing emotional resilience and the evolving nature of his relationships. The warmth that starts to appear in the cinematography represents the emotional light that begins to shine through the cracks of his difficult circumstances, suggesting that hope is always present, even in the darkest of times. The composition of each shot also serves the larger narrative themes of fragility and resilience. In some of the film's more intense scenes, such as those depicting Austen's bone breaks or moments of emotional confrontation, the frame is often crowded with objects or characters. This creates a sense of claustrophobia, forcing the viewer to feel the tension and pressure of those moments. Conversely, during moments of emotional breakthrough or connection, the shots are more open, allowing space for the characters to breathe. These compositional choices mirror the emotional arcs of the characters, visually reinforcing the themes of the film and the characters' growth throughout the story. Equally important to the visual language of the film is its editing. The film's pacing is controlled and deliberate, allowing the emotional beats to resonate without feeling rushed. The editing style often takes a more contemplative approach, lingering on moments of tension or revelation to give the audience time to absorb the weight of what's happening. There's a careful balance between quiet, intimate moments and the more dramatic sequences, with the editing amplifying the emotional stakes. In scenes where Austen faces physical or emotional trauma, the cuts are minimal, allowing the camera to stay with the characters and capture the rawness of the moment. This slow-paced editing draws the audience in, forcing them to feel every ounce of Austen's pain, fear, and, ultimately, hope. The editing also works in tandem with the film's sound design to enhance the emotional experience. The sound design is subtle but powerful, contributing to the emotional tone without ever overwhelming the narrative. There is a palpable sense of space in the soundscapes. Sometimes the sound design is stripped back entirely, creating moments of silence that heighten the emotional intensity. For example, during moments of Austen's injuries, the sound cuts out, allowing the visual and emotional experience to stand on its own. The absence of sound during these moments makes the physicality of the injuries feel all the more visceral, as if the absence of noise amplifies the body's pain. In other moments, the sound design intensifies, particularly during scenes of heightened emotional conflict. The noise of the environment, the hustle of the school, the background chatter, or even the distant hum of machinery in the hospital, serves to underscore the emotional state of the characters. The sound of these environments shifts depending on the emotional arc of the scene. For instance, when Austen's father, Scott, is grappling with the helplessness of watching his son suffer, the background noise of the world outside becomes more pronounced. The hum of the hospital machines, the bustle of people in the background, all of these sounds create a sense of overwhelming pressure, highlighting Scott's sense of powerlessness and frustration. Music is another essential element of the film's emotional palette, and it plays a pivotal role in shaping the audience's experience. The score, composed with great care and sensitivity, works in perfect harmony with the film's visuals to heighten the emotional impact of key scenes. The music is often subtle, never overpowering the narrative, but always present to guide the emotional tone. The score uses a mix of orchestral and minimalist elements, with strings providing a rich emotional backdrop while piano and guitar add moments of quiet introspection. The music often swells during key moments of emotional breakthrough, such as when Austen experiences a moment of triumph, whether it be overcoming a physical challenge or experiencing an emotional connection with his father. These musical cues are not just about underscoring the action. From the opening scene to the final frame, The Unbreakable Boy showcases an exceptional mastery of visual storytelling. It is a film where every frame, every transition, and every sound contributes to the immersive experience. The director's vision is brought to life through a careful blend of cinematic techniques, capturing the vulnerability and strength of its central character while underscoring the emotional depth of the narrative. Every decision, from cinematography to sound design, helps guide the audience through Austen's world and evokes a powerful emotional response. One of the most striking aspects of The Unbreakable Boy is its visual style. At first glance, the film might appear to employ traditional cinematic methods, but as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that each shot, every lighting choice, and even the pacing of the shots has been meticulously crafted to evoke a specific emotional response. The film's visual style plays a fundamental role in immersing the audience in Austen's journey, reinforcing the themes of resilience, fragility, and the complex interplay between pain and beauty. The director and cinematographer use a combination of naturalistic and artistic techniques to evoke both the physical fragility of Austen's body and the emotional strength that defines him. The cinematography throughout The Unbreakable Boy is often intimate and raw, reflecting the emotional intensity of the narrative. Early on, we see the camera frequently lingering on Austen's face, capturing the vulnerability in his eyes. These moments feel almost intrusive, pulling us close to Austen's emotional world. The camera is not just an observer, it feels like a companion, a presence that follows Austen's every move. In these moments, the camera is deliberately still, allowing us to process the quiet weight of Austen's experiences and the gravity of his situation. These close-ups become particularly powerful in scenes where Austen is dealing with the aftermath of a fall or injury. The tight framing conveys the physical and emotional isolation he often feels, as if the world around him is closing in. The decision to keep the shots intimate and personal makes us feel as though we are not just watching Austen suffer, we are experiencing it with him. As the film progresses, the cinematography evolves to mirror Austen's growth. The camera begins to pull back in scenes that involve moments of connection, particularly with his family. These wider shots suggest the expanding world that Austen is slowly discovering, as his relationships deepen and his understanding of his place in the world grows. The shift in visual style subtly reflects the emotional transformation Austen undergoes. Where the film initially constrains the viewer to Austen's personal space, it gradually opens up, symbolizing the blossoming of his world, both physically and emotionally. The film's use of lighting also plays a crucial role in enhancing the emotional tone. The lighting scheme is grounded in realism but carries a clear intention to underscore the emotional beats of the story. Early in the film, the lighting is often soft and muted, bathing Austen's world in cooler tones. This choice reflects his isolation and the sense of fragility that defines his life. Shadows are frequently cast across the frame, symbolizing the uncertainty Austen faces every day, as well as the invisible barriers that separate him from the people around him. The muted lighting also serves to highlight the delicate nature of his condition. Just as light is easily blocked or refracted, so too are Austen's bones fragile, easily fractured under the strain of the world. However, as Austen grows and his emotional journey unfolds, the lighting becomes warmer, with golden hues gradually seeping into the frames. This shift mirrors the evolving optimism in his life as he finds love, strength, and acceptance. The warmer lighting often coincides with scenes of familial connection, whether it's Austen sharing a quiet moment with his father or finding joy in the company of friends. The color temperature of the film is more than just a stylistic choice. It's a visual manifestation of Austen's emotional state, enhancing the narrative's themes of hope, healing, and growth. The editing in The Unbreakable Boy complements the film's visual storytelling by creating a rhythm that mirrors Austen's emotional journey. Early on, the film's editing is slow and deliberate. The pacing allows the audience to truly dwell on each moment, whether it's a scene of Austen's isolation or his quiet struggles to connect with others. The deliberate pace ensures that we never rush through the moments that define Austen's character and the film's emotional core. These slower, more introspective scenes build a sense of tension, making the moments of release, such as Austen's breakthroughs or moments of connection, even more impactful. However, As the narrative picks up speed and Austen's journey takes more dynamic turns, the editing becomes more fluid. The transitions between scenes become smoother, and the pacing quickens, mirroring the sense of forward momentum in Austen's life. The subtle shifts in editing also help establish the evolving relationships between the characters. For example, in scenes between Austen and his father, the editing rhythm often mimics the emotional beats of their conversations. There are long pauses that linger between words, emphasizing the weight of what is unspoken. These moments allow the emotional tension between the two characters to build slowly, making their eventual breakthroughs all the more rewarding. One of the most remarkable aspects of the film is its use of sound design and music to enhance the emotional depth of the narrative. The soundscape of The Unbreakable Boy is minimalist yet profoundly effective. From the creaking of bones during a fall to the soft, almost imperceptible hum of the world around Austen, the sound design is keenly attuned to the fragility of the world Austen inhabits. These sounds, the crack of a bone, the scraping of a fall, are not just physical noises but emotional cues. They are moments of rupture, of painful reminders of Austen's vulnerability, and they become woven into the fabric of the film's emotional landscape. The music, composed with a gentle and haunting quality, further elevates the film's emotional stakes. It's not loud or overpowering. Rather, it acts as an emotional undercurrent, subtly guiding us through the highs and lows of the narrative. The score shifts in tone as Austen's journey evolves. In the quieter moments, the music often consists of soft piano melodies or simple string arrangements, evoking a sense of tenderness and fragility. These moments of calm, underscored by the delicate score, allow us to reflect on the emotional journey that Austen is on. The music is never intrusive. It gently supports the narrative, heightening the emotional resonance of each scene without overwhelming it. During more climactic moments, whether it's a moment of triumph or devastation, the music swells, adding a layer of emotional intensity that drives the action forward. One of the most powerful moments in the film, when Austen experiences a particularly severe injury, is marked by a swelling of orchestral strings that mirrors the chaos and intensity of the scene. The music here serves as an emotional guide, helping us process the physical and emotional weight of what Austen is going through. It's in these moments, when the music and visuals sync seamlessly, that the film truly takes on a heightened emotional resonance. The sound design is equally integral to the film's storytelling. As we follow Austen through various stages of his life, the sounds in his environment reflect both his internal and external struggles. In the scenes where Austen is alone, the world feels empty. His footsteps are often the only sound, echoing in vast, quiet spaces. This silence emphasizes his sense of isolation and fragility, as if the world around him is holding its breath. But as Austen begins to build connections with others, the soundscape grows fuller. The sound of laughter, the hum of everyday life, the interactions between his family members, all of these sounds serve to mark his emotional development and the growing sense of belonging in his life. The film's stylistic choices also extend to its use of visual metaphors. One such metaphor is the recurring motif of broken glass. Early in the film, we see scenes of shattered glass or broken objects, symbolic of Austen's physical fragility and his internal sense of being fragmented. These fragments, whether they appear in the form of a broken glass window or a shattering mirror, represent moments of vulnerability and pain, but they also suggest a path toward healing. As the narrative progresses and Austen's emotional strength grows, the broken glass becomes less frequent, replaced by moments of cohesion, such as a father and son fixing something together. The glass shattering, once a symbol of defeat, gradually transforms into a symbol of repair and reconstruction, echoing the film's larger theme of resilience. Another stylistic choice that defines the director's vision is the use of perspective in framing. Often, the camera is placed at a lower angle, looking up at the characters, particularly Austen. This perspective serves to make Austen appear more powerful, even though, physically, he is vulnerable. This visual technique serves as a reminder that, despite his fragility, there is a strength in his spirit that transcends the physical limitations imposed on him by his condition. In contrast, the moments where the camera is placed at a higher angle, looking down at the characters, often occur during moments of pain or struggle, emphasizing the weight of the challenges Austen faces. These subtle shifts in perspective reinforce the emotional undercurrents of the narrative, underscoring the contrast between physical fragility and emotional resilience. Ultimately, The Unbreakable Boy is a testament to the power of cinematic techniques in storytelling. The director's vision is brought to life through a careful balance of visual style, sound, and editing. Every decision made in the film, from the intimate framing to the minimalist score, serves to reinforce the emotional core of the story. The result is a film that doesn't just tell a story, it immerses the audience in the emotional landscape of its characters. Through its masterful use of cinematography, editing, sound design, and music, The Unbreakable Boy invites us to experience Austen's world not just as passive viewers, but as active participants in his journey of resilience and self-discovery. In the years since The Unbreakable Boy graced the silver screen, it has become more than just a movie. It has become a cultural touchstone, a film that not only resonates emotionally but also challenges conventions within its genre and the broader cinematic landscape. The impact of The Unbreakable Boy on filmmaking, pop culture, and society at large is nothing short of transformative. Through its unique storytelling, emotional depth, and bold approach to difficult subjects, the film has left an indelible mark on audiences and the industry alike, earning its place in cinematic history as a film that transcends mere entertainment to inspire, challenge, and ultimately change the conversation around strength, resilience, and difference. When the film was first released, many expected a straightforward story about overcoming adversity, but what audiences encountered was something far deeper. In The Unbreakable Boy, the genre of biographical drama was redefined. While many films in this space lean heavily on inspirational speeches and sweeping narrative arcs designed to tug at the heartstrings, The Unbreakable Boy presented an unflinching portrayal of its protagonist, Austen, and the challenges he faces in a manner that was raw, honest, and unapologetically real. The film didn't just ask the audience to root for the main character. It made them confront uncomfortable truths about vulnerability, pain, and the ways in which society defines strength. In a genre often populated with heroic narratives that focus on the overcoming of insurmountable odds, The Unbreakable Boy stands apart by presenting a hero who doesn't conform to the traditional archetype. Austen isn't a soldier, a superhero, or a world-changing figure. Instead, he is a young boy living with a rare condition, yet his story of courage, love, and personal growth redefines what it means to be heroic. The film challenges the prevailing idea that strength is measured by the absence of weakness, instead suggesting that true strength is found in vulnerability and resilience. It is a subtle yet profound departure from the genre norm, and this fresh perspective has since influenced other films within the biographical and coming-of-age drama genres. The Unbreakable Boy introduced a new way of viewing heroism, one that is not defined by the ability to never break but by the courage to rise again after every fall. Beyond its impact on genre conventions, The Unbreakable Boy also made waves in the world of filmmaking. Its delicate balance of emotional depth and visual storytelling has set a new standard for the ways in which filmmakers approach stories about disability and resilience. The film's understated cinematography, its ability to communicate deep emotions through visual metaphors, and its intimate portrayal of a character's journey were groundbreaking in how they elevated the narrative without resorting to heavy-handed melodrama. In a landscape where films about adversity can sometimes become too focused on the spectacle of triumph, The Unbreakable Boy found its power in quiet moments, in the way that small gestures, like a father's touch or a shared glance, could convey more than any grandiose monologue ever could. This nuanced approach to filmmaking became a touchstone for directors working in similar genres, encouraging them to explore more subtle, yet deeply emotional ways to communicate their characters' struggles and victories. The cultural impact of The Unbreakable Boy has been similarly profound. In a time when discussions about disability and the representation of people with chronic conditions were still in their infancy in Hollywood, the film became a cultural landmark. It shifted the conversation, presenting disability not as a limitation but as a facet of the human experience that deserves to be acknowledged, explored, and celebrated. Austen's condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, might have made him physically fragile, but the film showed that his emotional and spiritual strength was unbreakable. This empowered viewers with similar conditions, giving them a story that validated their experiences and demonstrated that they, too, could be the protagonists of their own lives. For those without disabilities, the film offered a window into a world that was often overlooked or misunderstood. It invited empathy and understanding in a way that was both profound and accessible. The film's cultural influence extended well beyond the theaters. Its themes of resilience, emotional depth, and the importance of empathy resonated across various media, inspiring not only other filmmakers but also musicians, artists, and activists. The film's portrayal of a child living with a rare condition struck a chord with non-profit organizations, educators, and medical professionals, who saw it as an opportunity to highlight the emotional and psychological needs of children with disabilities, ensuring that their stories were told in an authentic and respectful manner. The narrative quickly became a touchstone for educational programs and awareness campaigns, giving them a powerful tool to help foster a greater understanding of the challenges faced by individuals with physical conditions. Moreover, The Unbreakable Boy became a rallying cry for a more inclusive film industry. Prior to its release, disability was often treated as a side note or used as a plot device in films that did not take the time to explore the true depth of these experiences. However, by casting actors who brought a level of authenticity and real-life experience to their roles, The Unbreakable Boy helped set a new precedent for the way that stories about disability are told in film. The conversation around representation in Hollywood shifted. This film was seen as a step in the right direction, demonstrating that stories about disabled individuals could be just as emotionally compelling, complex, and richly layered as any other. Awards and critical acclaim followed the film's release, cementing its place in cinematic history. Nominated for several prestigious awards, including Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Actor for its lead performance, The Unbreakable Boy stood out not only for its storytelling but also for its ability to challenge and redefine cinematic norms. Critics praised the film for its delicate approach to difficult subjects and its refusal to take shortcuts in presenting a character who was deeply flawed, painfully human, and yet utterly compelling. The film's success at the box office, despite being a relatively modest production, spoke volumes about the hunger for films that told stories outside the mainstream, that dug deep into the complexities of the human spirit rather than merely skimming the surface. In the years following its release, The Unbreakable Boy became a film that was regularly referenced in discussions about modern cinema and storytelling. Its influence can be seen in the increasing number of films and television shows that follow in its footsteps, embracing stories of disability, mental health, and personal adversity with honesty and emotional depth. It served as a touchstone for filmmakers looking to explore the fragility and strength of the human experience, encouraging a more nuanced, empathetic approach to storytelling that transcends the traditional portrayals of triumph over adversity. The movie also sparked an important cultural dialogue surrounding the representation of disabilities in the media, continuing to have a lasting impact on how disability is portrayed on screen. There was a marked shift toward more authentic representations of characters with disabilities, particularly in terms of their emotional, psychological, and relational experiences. Austin's character, and the performances that brought him to life, highlighted the importance of multidimensional portrayals of disabled individuals, and that portrayal of Austin became a model for more inclusive, humanizing representation in future media. The Unbreakable Boy has remained significant over time because it touches on something universal: the desire to belong, to be seen, and to find meaning in life despite facing extraordinary challenges. The film's legacy is one of empowerment, not just for those living with disabilities, but for anyone who has ever struggled with the feeling of being broken. It speaks to the human condition in its purest form, offering a story of resilience that transcends all barriers, physical, emotional, and societal. In a world where entertainment often relies on spectacle, special effects, and high-octane action to capture the public's attention, The Unbreakable Boy reminded us of the power of simplicity, authenticity, and heart. It remains a beacon for filmmakers and storytellers who seek to create films that are not just about spectacle but about the human spirit, showing that the most compelling stories are often the ones that reflect our own vulnerabilities and strengths. Ultimately, The Unbreakable Boy is a film that will continue to be relevant for generations to come. Its cultural and cinematic impact is undeniable, serving as both a transformative work of art and a necessary catalyst for change in the portrayal of disability and resilience in modern cinema. In the years ahead, it will undoubtedly inspire future filmmakers to push boundaries, to tell more inclusive stories, and to embrace the complexities of the human condition with the same empathy and truth that made The Unbreakable Boy a defining film of its time. The Unbreakable Boy isn't just a movie. It's a cinematic experience that captivates the heart and mind in equal measure. Its power lies not in spectacle or grandiosity, but in its quiet, emotional resonance. From its humble yet profound story to the stunning performances and meticulous attention to detail in every frame, this film is one that stands out in a crowded landscape of cinematic offerings. It is a movie that invites viewers to rethink their assumptions about heroism, strength, and the human condition. At its core, The Unbreakable Boy is a story of resilience, the kind of resilience that exists not in the absence of struggle but in the face of it, in the determination to rise after each fall, no matter how many times one is knocked down. What sets this film apart is its authenticity, its refusal to sugarcoat the difficulties of living with a rare condition, yet its refusal to let those difficulties define the protagonist's worth. Austin, the central figure, is portrayed not as a victim, but as someone whose spirit is as unbreakable as his body is fragile. It's this duality, the fragility of the physical world and the unyielding strength of the human spirit, that makes The Unbreakable Boy such an emotionally stirring and thought-provoking film. Every aspect of the film, from its cinematography to its performances, is designed to showcase this tension between fragility and strength, making for a story that doesn't just entertain but also transforms how we view adversity, courage, and the people who face them. The film's legacy lies in its ability to push boundaries. In a cinematic world where disability is often relegated to the margins, The Unbreakable Boy places a disabled character at the center of a deeply human story. It challenges viewers to expand their notions of what it means to be a hero, to be strong, to be valuable, and to find purpose despite, or because of, the challenges life throws in one's path. Austin's story is not about overcoming a disability. It is about embracing one's identity and finding strength in the places others might consider weakness. This shift in narrative focus is both refreshing and necessary, and it has inspired countless filmmakers, writers, and activists to continue pushing for greater representation of disabled characters and stories that reflect the depth and complexity of human life. Furthermore, the film's cinematography and editing techniques are key to its success. The intimacy of the shots, the careful use of lighting, and the seamless transitions between moments of emotional quiet and emotional intensity reflect a director who knows how to let the story breathe. Every visual decision enhances the themes of the film, whether it's through the use of light to symbolize Austin's emotional growth or the close-up shots that allow the audience to feel the weight of every moment. The pacing is deliberate, slow when it needs to be, and fast when the stakes rise, ensuring that the audience is constantly engaged without ever feeling rushed. This approach to filmmaking doesn't just tell a story, it invites the audience to live within it, to feel the characters' emotions, their joy, and their sorrow as though they were their own. The performances in The Unbreakable Boy also play a crucial role in elevating the film. The cast delivers nuanced, heartfelt portrayals that make every character, no matter how minor, feel fully realized and human. The central performance by the actor portraying Austin is nothing short of extraordinary, capturing the inner conflict of a young boy who is learning to navigate the world with a body that doesn't cooperate with his will, yet refusing to let that define him. The chemistry between Austin and his family, particularly his father, is tender and authentic, showcasing the deep bonds that can exist even when life doesn't go as planned. It is this authenticity in both the script and the performances that keeps the viewer emotionally connected to the film from start to finish. Sound design and music play a pivotal role in amplifying the emotional weight of the story. The film's score, composed with delicate string arrangements and subtle piano melodies, provides an aural backdrop to the film's quieter, more introspective moments, while the occasional swelling of orchestral strings adds intensity to moments of triumph and pain. The use of sound is equally important, with the creak of bones and the echo of footsteps in empty hallways underscoring Austin's sense of isolation. These choices make the world feel lived in and real, imbuing the film with a sensory quality that pulls the viewer deeper into Austin's experience. The film's social and cultural impact cannot be understated. In its portrayal of disability, it challenges Hollywood's long-standing conventions, showing that stories about people with disabilities do not have to be simplified or overly sanitized in order to be compelling. Instead, The Unbreakable Boy proves that a truly great story can emerge from the most difficult and complex human experiences. By casting disabled actors and portraying their experiences with respect, The film opened the door for greater inclusion in the industry, serving as a model for how representation can be both authentic and moving. The film also sparked conversations about how society views strength, heroism, and difference, shifting the narrative around what it means to be unbreakable in a world that often values perfection over imperfection. This movie's influence reaches far beyond the film industry. Its legacy extends into education, healthcare, and activism, where it has served as a powerful tool for advocacy and awareness. The film's impact on public perception of disability and chronic illness is immeasurable, encouraging a more empathetic and nuanced understanding of what it means to live with such conditions. It has inspired medical professionals, educators, and families dealing with similar challenges to see the potential in every individual, to look beyond a diagnosis, and to celebrate the uniqueness of each person's story. But what ultimately makes The Unbreakable Boy stand out, what guarantees that it will be remembered as a pivotal work of cinema, is its heart. It is a film that doesn't just seek to entertain. It seeks to connect, to inspire, and to remind us that resilience is not just about overcoming but about enduring with dignity and grace. It invites the audience to question their own definitions of strength, to reflect on the ways they perceive others, and to consider the quiet, unseen strength that often lies beneath the surface. This is what makes The Unbreakable Boy so powerful. It is not just a story about one boy. It is a story about all of us. If you loved this breakdown and found yourself drawn into the emotional landscape of The Unbreakable Boy, then give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cinema. Let's keep exploring movies together, uncovering the stories, techniques, and hidden gems that make cinema such a powerful art form. Whether it's a film about resilience, love, or the human condition, there's always something new to discover, something profound to learn. And as always, we'll be here, ready to share it with you. Stay tuned for more amazing insights into the movies that continue to shape the world of film.